Before I get into today's episode, I've set myself a little goal for 2025 where I want to try and upload more often to YouTube, and I just want to take YouTube a little bit more seriously in general. So I'm hoping to upload more often and hopefully grow the channel throughout the year. And I've realised that a lot of people who watch my videos are not actually subscribed. So if you are one of those people that enjoy my videos but you're not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you'd hit subscribe. It'd help me out and it's free for you to do. So thank you in advance to everyone who does subscribe and everyone who is already subscribed. Let's get into the video. Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So in today's episode I'm going to be starting another project over here in the base. So as most of you will know by now, I like to set myself challenges on this world. And if any of my followers set me good challenges, I will try attempt them as well. And one of those challenges that I got set a long time ago now is to get 10,000 levels of XP. And I'll be honest here, I didn't quite know how hard this was going to be when I first got the challenge set. I knew that every time you gained levels, it took more XP to get to the next level each time. But I didn't quite realise how long it would start to take once I got to like level 3,000 like I am now. And obviously by the time I get to 8,000, 9,000 and pushing towards 10,000, it's going to take a whole lot of XP to level up. And if you've been paying attention to my levels over the last probably year or two, I leveled up quite a lot pretty fast, and then since then it's just been slow progress and I've not really been leveling up as often as I was before. And the reason is that I built this gold XP farm near the start of the world, and it was actually very efficient when I first built it, but I've been having some issues. So the main issue is that the XP doesn't all come to the middle anymore. So I had a little minecart set up so I was getting all of the XP, but then that must have been fixed with an update. So I can stand in the middle here and all of the XP doesn't come to me. So when the XP builds up, it crashes the game. So I can't really stay AFK at this farm anymore. But I have used this farm loads over the years, as you can tell by my XP. And I've just got so many gold blocks from this. I don't really know what to do with all of these. But anyway, I need a new way to get XP. And I am going to build another gold farm at some point, and that is what I was going to do today. But I actually found out that there's a better method of getting XP these days. And that method is with the armadillos. So I've not experimented with this yet, but apparently there's some very efficient armadillo XP farms. So that is what I want to do today, but I just wasn't sure where I wanted to do this. So I was thinking maybe I could build it inside one of the houses, or I could make a room down here in the base. But then I came up with a different idea. So ever since I started this world, I always knew that I wanted to have a secret underground lab somewhere. So I built this bunker a while ago. You've actually not seen this yet, you're going to see this in a future video. But I built this quite a while ago now. And I wanted to add a secret room in here. So I've actually gone ahead and I've done it already. So if I lift up this trapdoor and press this button, it opens a little secret room here. And this is going to be the entrance to the lab. And I'm not the best at redstone, but I did manage to figure out the redstone here. I think I've done something similar to this before. So this is going to be a big build that I'm going to work on for quite a few months. It's not going to be a build I just get finished in one episode, and it's going to use a lot of resources, so I got to work gathering some of those. First of all, I'm going to need some concrete, so I headed over to the concrete machine that I built a few episodes ago. The main ones I'm going to use is light blue and grey, but I might come back here to collect some other colours at some point. I also thought I was going to use a lot of iron, so I stayed AFK over here at my iron farm, and I've got plenty of this stuff. But I think I've actually changed my mind and I'm not going to use this. So instead I want to use nether quartz. So I've got a bartering set up here and this does produce nether quartz, but just not enough for how many I need for this project. So there's only 6 piglins in here and there's all of these different items that they can give. So I do get some quartz, but just not enough for if I want to do a big project with them. But luckily for me, I am trying to get a netherite beacon. So I'm always collecting quartz ore while I'm doing that. So I just need to place them in a tower and then mine them with a fortune 3 pickaxe. I was going to wait until I'd completely finished a netherite beacon and then do a massive time lapse of me mining all of these. But I'm just going to use a shulker box full of them for now, and that should keep me going for at least the start of this project. So now that I've got all of the materials that I'm going to need to at least start this project, I think I'm just going to go procrastinate for a little bit. So the hardest part of any project is getting it started. And I've got a few ideas for how I want it to go, but I'm just not totally sure yet. So I'm just going to do a couple of other things and then hopefully I get some more solid ideas. So what I wanted to do is something that I mentioned in the last episode. If you've not been keeping up to date with my most recent episodes, I'm trying my best to get as many items as possible checked off the checklist here. So in the last episode I did all of this chest. And in this episode, I want to do all of the different copper variants. So there's all of the different copper variants, and then there's all of the wax versions as well. So one of my goals on this world is to build a farm for every single item. And that does mean I'm going to build a copper farm eventually. And I was going to wait until I built that, until I checked the copper off the checklist. But recently, or not so recently now, the trial chambers got added to the game. And these things just give so much copper just from mining them out. So this is the trial chamber farm that I built, and I just got so much copper from this thing. So I actually forgot where I put this stuff, but I've got loads in here. I've got some more up here, and then in this chest here, all of these shulker boxes are full of various different copper variants. So I should have enough or plenty here to check off all of the different items. And if you didn't see the episode where I built this thing, I found a trial chamber and I cleared out all of it. I just kept all of the spawners. Then I just kind of built these hoppers going down to the ground. So once I complete a trial, whatever item gets dropped will get sucked down and taken to this chest in here. So it's still a work in progress. I've not finished it yet. I do want to come back and finish it pretty soon. But it's quite a big task to fill in all of these walls with detail. So there's a few changes I want to make. There's some issues that I've been having, and that's why there's a hopper minecart on the floor here. And I also want to decorate the place. So yeah, that's a project I'm probably going to come back to pretty soon. But for right now, I'm just going to take some of this copper back to the base. And I'm going to try check off all of the different copper variants. Okay, that was a little bit more of a grind than I was first expecting. But you can see here, I've got most of the copper variants, but there's still some that I don't have yet. So first of all is the copper bulbs. So you need blaze rods to craft these, and I actually don't have too many blaze rods. I'm quite far into this world, but I've never built a blaze rod farm before. And the ones that I did have, I used them all for potion brewing. So yeah, I need to get some blaze rods. And there's also the doors and the trapdoors. So I've just placed these out here to start oxidizing. And I realise it's like the slowest method to do it, leaving them right next to each other like this. But hopefully all of these are finished oxidizing by the end of this episode. And I'll also go collect some blaze rods and check off the copper bulbs as well. But anyway, moving back onto this project. I've had a little bit more time to think about it. I still don't know exactly how I want this to turn out. But I've got some ideas, so I think I'm just going to get started on it, and then we'll just see where it goes from there. So I got a little bit carried away and made a little bit more progress than I was originally going to do. So I think it's time for a progress update here. So I've decorated this room, and I've actually made a way to close this from the inside as well. So I can open this, close it again from the inside. I've used a quartz obviously, and then I actually changed my mind and I used the cyan concrete instead of the light blue concrete. I just think it looks a little bit better. The light blue is a little bit too light, this is a bit darker, so I think that's going to work a little bit better for this project. And then I've got the grate in the floor here, and I can't actually build it on this level because if I go too many blocks in this direction or this direction, I'm going to hit the ocean. So I had to go down by about 25 blocks here. And this is like the main room of the lab. So I've still not fully thought out everything I'm going to do for this project. But I've got a few ideas, And I think my main plan is to kind of have this as the main room. And then I'm going to have hallways going off in different directions. They might like connect with each other at some point and then come back to this room. And then each hallway will lead to a bunch of different rooms. So if I ever get any ideas for a room I could build down here, I can just come down and add it whenever I feel like it. And I kind of want this project to end up being a little bit of a maze. So if you're not familiar with where everything is and the layout of everything, you're probably going to get lost in this place. But anyway, this is the main room. So I've not come up with a ceiling design yet, so I've just left that blank for now. I kind of like the walls, but there's some areas like this that are a little bit just too plain. So I'm going to come up with a design to just put in these places, like over here. And I think also over here, I don't think I need this door. So yeah, there's a few changes I'm going to make to this room yet. Over on this side, I've got some, well, these are supposed to be test tubes. I'm still not totally sure if I like these or not. And then I've got a few doors around here. These don't lead anywhere. But this one over here goes to a little storage room that I want to make. So I'm going to be using a lot of quartz and concrete and stuff while I'm building this thing. And instead of flying over to the base to go and get it and bring it back, I'm just going to have a little storage room in here so I can store loads of resources in here. But I also hate to have torches around in my builds. So I need to find a way to hide some lighting around here just to make sure no mobs spawn. So I've got a little bit of hidden lighting under some of these slabs, but it doesn't quite spread all of the way over to these corners and stuff. So I need to find a way to light this up, probably with the ceiling, but I might have to put some carpets around or something like that. But anyway, there's this other room here, and this one goes through to a little hallway. So I think all of my hallways are going to look exactly like this. I'm just going to copy and paste it a load of times. So I can make this as long as I want in that direction and that direction. I could probably go down at some point if I wanted to. And then I've marked out a little room here. So this is actually where I'm going to build the Armadillo XP farm. Actually, you can ignore that part because I've had a little change of plan here. So instead of building it in here, I've changed my mind and I'm going to build it somewhere else. And you can just ignore the walls and stuff in here. I don't know if I'm going to keep this as a hallway or if I'll make it into a room or something. And this way down as well, you can ignore this for now because this will probably change as well. But yeah, I decided I'm going to change where I'm going to build it for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because there's not enough space to build it up there. I'm not the best at redstone, so I'm struggling to compact the redstone design. So yeah, there's not enough room to build it up there. And the second reason is because I need some zombies if this farm's going to work. So this is the new location. You can see there's plenty of room. The farm itself is just going to be in the middle where this deep slate is, but then I'm going to have some redstone behind it as well. So yeah, I wanted plenty of room for this project. And then for the zombies, there's actually a zombie spawner right here. So I found this a long time ago when the caves first got added, the bigger caves. The world depth changed, so I was exploring some lush caves around my base, or underneath the base, and then I bumped into this mob spawner here. And usually I wouldn't keep track of the coordinates, but it was a double mob spawner, so there's a skeleton spawner right here as well. And because it was right next to the base, I thought I would write down the coordinates, just in case I ever wanted it for anything. And yeah, finally there's a project that I can use it for. So yeah, the armadillo farm is going to go over there, and then I'm going to make a way to easily transport the zombies over here and then into the farm itself. And I was thinking I could also use the skeleton spawner as a grinder. So when I'm AFK at the armadillo farm, I could also get a bunch of bones and stuff. But first of all, I don't really need that anymore. I've got so much bone meal on this world. But secondly, it's going to be out of range, so it wouldn't be able to work anyway. So yeah, I'm going to leave that spawner for now, and I might do something with that eventually. But for right now, I'm just going to use the zombie spawner, and then this space out here, which I've already dug out. Okay, so actually getting straight into the build this time. I did need to follow a tutorial for this build because I didn't know how to do it myself. And there's a bunch of tutorials out there, but I followed one by a guy called Scorpion. But I did realise there's a lot of other designs that are the same, so I don't actually know who came up with the design. But I did follow a tutorial by Scorpion. I'll leave it linked down below just in case anyone else wants to check it out. Okay, so the tutorial only built one of these modules here, and I've gone ahead and built 6 of them. So I did test it out in a creative world. It does give a lot more XP to have a few more of these, but it also causes a lot of extra lag. So I don't think it'll cause any problems, but it is going to be extremely laggy when I use this farm. But the farm designs themselves are very simple. They're not quite finished yet. So there's a composter down there with some armadillos inside. There's 5 in each of these. I do need to put a cactus underneath there. So the way this farm works is, if I just dig through this wall, I will try to explain it, but I'm never very good at explaining things, especially when it's to do with redstone. So the way it works is there's 5 armadillos in each composter. There should be a cactus, or once the farm's finished, there'll be a cactus underneath. And the cactus will cause damage to the armadillos, but there's going to be a zombie in this tube here, and it's going to be the same on the other side. Because the zombies here, it's going to scare the armadillos, so they're going to roll up into a ball, and that means they don't actually take damage from the cactus, even though they are technically taking damage. They're not losing any health. Then the next part of the farm is that I've got a dispenser here. So this is going to be full of splash potions of infested, and I've got a hopper, and then I'm going to have some extra storage for this. I'm actually going to have an auto brewer above, so it's just going to automatically brew all of these potions. So there's a timer here, and every so often it will fire out a potion. So this will give all of the armadillos the infestation potion effect. And I could be wrong here, but I think what the potion does is every time the armadillo takes damage, so it's going to take damage to the cactus, it will spawn in a certain amount of silverfish. Those silverfish will come forward here. And then this is actually a trident killer. So if I turn this on, it's probably going to be quite loud. You can see these trapdoors go up and down like this, just consistently. There's going to be some tridents on top of here, and that's going to kill these silverfish. So that's my basic explanation of this. There's a little bit more going on with the redstone, like I added a switch here just to turn the potions on and off. So when I turn the farm off, I always end up with a bunch of silverfish still left in here. So I've got this option to turn the potions off first, so it will stop spawning the silverfish. And then once all of the silverfish are gone, then I can turn the farm off. So yeah, that's just a quick answer for anyone who was wondering why there's 2 levers there. But yeah, it's time to finish up decorating this place. I need to do the ceiling in here. And as I briefly mentioned, I do want to build an auto brewer above, probably quite a few of them, just so I can keep all of these dispensers stocked up with the splash potions of infested. So that was just a quick build, it didn't take too long. And I've gone with the same block palette as I went for the entrance to the lab. I don't think I'm going to use this exact block palette for every single room that I build in this project. There's going to be plenty of rooms by the end of it. But I think for now I'm just going to keep the same block palette. Then eventually I'll start experimenting with different blocks and stuff. So hopefully every single room can be a little bit unique. But anyway, this is what I did down here. And I also dug out an area up at the top. Or I started digging out an area. I think I'm going to have to dig this back quite a bit more. But I was just kind of planning out a little bit up here for what I'm going to do. So there's 3 holes on each side. This is where the zombie's going to go. So this is how I'm going to get the zombie in. I still don't know how I'm going to get the zombie from over there into the tube here. And then the 2 holes on either side. This is where the potions are going to be fed into the farm. But the problem is I'm already running out of time to record this episode. I wanted to get this episode out last weekend, so it's already late. And there's so much more work that needs to go into this project. I don't just want to rush it and then get some things wrong. Because it's going to be my main XP farm, I want to put in as much time and effort as I can and make sure it's all perfect. So I'm just going to leave this project for today. And I will come back to it probably in the next episode or the episode after that. So I wanted to find another quick project that I could do just to fill some time at the end of the episode. And I said earlier that I need a bunch of blaze rods to craft the copper bulbs. And I actually don't have a blaze farm yet. So that's something that I wanted to work on quickly here. So I only went for a simple design, it didn't take long to build. But it was kind of annoying constantly getting shot off the edge by all of the blaze. Even with the fire resistance potion, it was quite annoying to build this. So I actually built this thing near my wither skeleton farm. Well, this thing is still a work in progress. I've been working on this for quite a few years now actually. I've recently just removed all the lava, so I need to dig this down to bedrock, and then I can finally get onto the farm itself, and then I want to decorate the walls. But yeah, that's a project for another day. You'll see that in a different video. The project I did here was this little blaze farm here. So I don't know if these designs really get used anymore. They're very basic designs. But back in like 2012, 2013, I used to build these on basically every single world that I had. So I think back then you couldn't really push mobs with lava in the nethers, so blaze farms were a little bit more difficult. So this is just a pretty simple design where the blaze will spawn from the spawner, they'll fall down these gaps, and then you can get some pretty easy kills on them. They can do bits of damage if you get like too close, or if you like stand at the edge here they can shoot the fireballs at you sometimes. But for the most part it's a pretty safe farm to use. But yeah, I've probably not built one of these for like 10 years now. So it was just a nice quick build that I made. I'll probably build a better one eventually, but for right now I've got plenty of blaze rods from this thing. So this was in like an hour, I got 10 stacks almost. So yeah, I'm going to take these back to the base. And all of these copper doors and trapdoors have oxidized. This took a long time. I knew it would because of how I placed them, but I think it took a little bit longer than I was actually expecting. So I should have everything that I need now to get all of the different copper variants. But I just found this guy here. It's not often I find these jockeys because I usually sleep the night away. So I don't really encounter too many mobs on this world. But yeah, it's been a while since I've actually seen one of these. Okay, this might not look like much, but this is actually so much time and effort that goes into getting all of these different variants here. So you've got to get 4 stacks of all of the different blocks and items, and then make sure it's all the right level of oxidized. And then half of it you need to put wax on it. So it might not look like much, but this is actually quite a big grind to get all of this. And I wasn't too sure on the trial chambers when they first got added. I think a few people shared the opinion that there's just way too much copper in there. But I'm pretty glad for them at this point because it's just saved me so much time getting all of this stuff. If I had to build a farm for the copper and then craft all of the blocks and then wait for it all to oxidize, this would have taken even longer than it did. But yeah, you can see that I've got a full stack of every single copper variant and the wax copper variants. And I've gone ahead and I've turned the lamps on. So I'm not going to count how many lamps that is now, but that's quite a few chests completed in here. And I'm pretty happy with the progress I've been making over the last 10 episodes or so. But anyway, that is all I'm going to have time for in today's episode. I'm sorry if the end of this video felt a bit rushed, that's probably because it was. But I hope everyone enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you did. Let me know what plans or ideas you have for the lab that I started, and I will see you all next time.